So, all is not quite well, but nevertheless. So that's what happens. So I'm going to run this again, keeping an eye on the diagnostic screen. Now here's another thing. Obviously it's not running properly. And it's very tempting to assume it's something to do with the ignition timing or something, but I thought, why not check the fuel injectors? So I've switched the ignition off, and in here you can see the actual fuel injectors, or one of. There you go, all three of them there. And if I turn the key, you can see them squirting fuel. I don't know whether this is going to work on camera. Right, yes, squirting fuel. Let's start with, oh no, left to right, okay. Yep. Yep, so those three are working. Seeing if you can see what I can see over here. Now this one appears not to be squirting. Alright, so I've come up with this thing. Now this is an ordinary plant sprayer pump up thing. I use this for WD-40 because the normal trigger squirt thing, it seems the WD-40 seems to destroy the pump mechanism, so I'm using this pump up version. Instead, it seems to last longer. Anyway, I have got, this is indeed WD-40, bought by a 5-litre bottle, I think, and I've pumped it up. I've effectively inflated the pipe and therefore the injector with WD-40 by releasing the trigger, and now if I press or connect the little terminal here, as you saw, there is indeed, well, WD-40 coming out. Now it's not a particularly impressive spray, although I suppose the pressure isn't as high and the WD-40 isn't as thin as petrol, but let's see, try that again. Yeah, okay, so as I say, it's not a particularly impressive spray, but it isn't actually fuel. Now I'm kind of tempted to attempt this with fuel, but what is sure is that it is actually working. So whatever the problem is with this injector, it isn't that the injector is blocked. So I did check the wiring harness for the injector rail. All 6 injectors, well, they all clicked away according to the appropriate pin on the big plug at the back. So it would appear that whatever the wiring problem may be, I'll just show you the plug, whatever the problem may be, it's not in that mini harness. So that's the end of that mini harness coming back from the fuel rail. That's all nicely cleaned up in there. So a cylinder that I couldn't see squirting was this one, and I had to go and check my firing order, which in fact says that this is cylinder 1, so that one's number 4. Now according to the wiring, number 4, can you see this? Number 4 goes to pin 32, and this is on that great big plug, not the ECU plug, the great big plug, and that's the first next place I'm going to check. Right, so the ECU end of the wire from the fuel injector is actually grounded, or becomes grounded. The ECU does the grounding. So in other words, the live end should be there already. So by finding pin, what did I say it was, 32, and with this piece of wire I can send that to earth, and we will know that the connection is going through from the big plug in here through to the fuel injector. Now luckily I have actually labelled the back of the wires here. Well, predictably perhaps we've got a wire off, and that's why the injector's not working. Yesterday I did a fair amount of work. I actually lost the connection to the injector on cylinder number 4, which I've now put back in place, and I checked the other ones as well. I didn't check the other ones. I checked all the coil-on plug device connections to go into the right cylinders. The connections to the fuel injectors are actually quite hard to check through, although I did check number 4 because obviously it wasn't working previously. So what can we do is only test it. I mean, it was correct before, at least I certainly thought it was at the time. So that's the only thing to do, is test it again. And I've even just spent a moment tying up the lambda sensor, sorry, wideband sensor on the floor, under the floor. I've just remembered something. I think I switched the ignition off. It's funny how you remember these things. Yes, I did. That calls me to power cycle. Right. Okay, ignition is back on. Let's see what happens. Better. click that happens. Okay then, some progress. So first of all, I've got my new inlet manifold gaskets, which are not all chewed up. I don't know whether you can see that in there. Can you? Probably not, to be fair. They are a bit chewed up. Anyway, but not ridiculously. Anyway, got some new ones, and it made, to be honest, almost zero difference. So then I got to fiddling with the Mighty software to see what I could achieve with that. And I don't know what prompted me particularly browsing through the manual page, I suppose, on their website. But anyway, I found the idle trim setting on the Mighty software, and basically I jacked up the fuel mixture. Now clearly that may not be exactly correct, but the important thing is this. Well. So, I enriched the mixture, which is the wrong way to do it, but at least I now know that the thing's capable of running. That's the important point. It is capable of running. Now, interestingly, you might hear a noise. Can you hear? That's the cooling fan. Now, clearly, it shouldn't be on just yet. Possibly some of this is due to the fact I'm connected up to a cylinder head temperature gauge sensor rather than a water temperature sensor. That may have something to do with all this, and it certainly explains why the cooling fan's on. But that's not the point. This means that I expect I could drive it a bit and take it to a tuning shop to have it set up properly. Thank heavens for that. How long has this been going on for? I would say it's something like a month. maybe longer. So here we are. Let me do that again. Yes! Actually, it was the warm-up trim that I increased. As you can see, it's running at about 1.7, and I know that that's not the right way to do it, but it works. It could be that there's air leaks still in the inlet, or even the exhaust system, I believe, because that's where the wideband sensor is, right down there. But this is seriously good news, because it means there's no faults as such. It's all just about tuning now. If you got as far as this, thanks very much for watching. And in case you haven't already, please do consider subscribing. That would be really encouraging for me. So catch you on the next one.